Have you considered how you could build out a better wealth portfolio? What are some of the tools that you have in your financial box? How might your financial box be limiting your wealth building? Let's try and answer these questions together. Welcome back to Ira Living. Today we're going to be focusing on how your financial box could be limiting your wealth building. The first thing we're going to talk about is what is a financial box. Now, your financial box is a box that has several tools in there that supports you with the managing, the investing, and growing of money that you have so that you can build out a good enough and healthy wealth portfolio to fulfill all of the financial needs and demands that you have, as well as to put aside enough for some of the visions and ambitions that you have for the future. There are 5 main things that you need in your financial box with regards to your behavior and habits that will help you to continue to grow your wealth portfolio to a place where you desire it to be. We're going to look at each of those in this video. The first one is to read books and watch videos. Now, this is where you're looking at self-development, and what you're trying to develop is your financial literacy, and you want to grow that to a stage where you understand how to create, how to grow, and then how to build out a wealth portfolio. And regardless of where you are on that journey, you are never too old to learn, and therefore you need to continue to learn new strategies, new techniques, new ways of investing, and new approaches that you can take to continue to grow out your wealth portfolio. It is therefore important that you are reading books and you are watching programs that gives you information of this type, and also having conversations with people who are growing their own wealth portfolio and are happy to share some of the strategies, the techniques, and the approaches that they're using to build out their wealth portfolio. Number 2 is our ability to assess conditioning. Oftentimes people are conditioned to different ideologies that they don't really know that they are carrying because it is now rooted in their subconscious mind, and therefore it's important that we're assessing our conditioning constantly about the way in which we relate to and interact with money, what we believe about money, so our money philosophy. We need to get to the point where we're understanding the way in which we see money. So how do we see money? Do we see money as a tool? Do we see it as a reward, or do we see it in some other way? Also, we need to consider the way in which we relate to money. So do we consider money to be a scarcity, or do we see it as something that we can have in abundance? These are some of the conditioning that we need to examine when we're looking at building out our wealth portfolio, so that we know what the goals are that we're setting for ourselves, and also how to realize those goals. And at the same time, not limiting ourselves, but also not putting undue stress on ourselves about things with regards to the way in which we see money. That is really just hampering us from actually growing our wealth to a place where we can actually relax and enjoy the wealth that we have accumulated. For some people, money is simply a symbol that demonstrates their success and their accomplishment. And as such, they use it to drive their self-esteem and their value. And they're constantly, therefore, looking for new ways and new means in which to make money. And if this is your situation, then it would be good to assess the conditioning so that you get to the root of where that idea came from, and then how to deal with it so that it doesn't consume you, and in the same time give you the chance to actually relish the successes that you have acquired and enjoy the money that you have built up. Most times we're so busy trying to get out of whatever bind we find ourselves in that we don't stop to do this third one, and it's reviewing. So number 3 is reviewing generational patterns. If we're looking carefully at generational patterns, we'll start to see different things. There are lots of medical conditions that we say, oh, it's genetic. But really and truly, it's not really about the gene carrying trait of it. It's about the experience within our environment, the habits and the customs that have been passed from generation to generation that causes it to manifest in a lot of people. And in the same way, we have those conditions with money. There are patterns within our generations that have passed down from generation to generation. It is therefore important that we review and take note of what it is that is cyclical, that we see it happening every generation for as far back as we can go. Of course, there will be the odd individuals within each of those generation pool where things are different, and they should become your case study. Because why are they different? Why is it different with them and it's not different with the majority of people? And it might have been because they saw the light, and therefore it's worth studying. So we need to look at what are some of the things that happens in our generations based on how they relate with money, their acquisition of it, and how they are able to retain it, grow it, and also build generational wealth that they have as a legacy to pass on. And if we are not seeing that, then we need to look at where is there evidence of scarcity, poor financial management, and start to build out our own understanding of how we can improve the way in which we relate to and build out wealth by how we show understanding for these inherited behavioral traits and the impact they have on our financial box and how they limit us from building the wealth that we want to. Number four is to reframe desires and accountability. When we were younger, there were things that we desire. Are those still the same things that we desire now? Or do we have new desires? Are we able to categorize our desires or transform those? And if so, we need to reframe those desires. Are those desires actually relevant to our living of our best life? Are they actually relevant to us fulfilling our potential? Are they actually relevant to us building our wealth out and enjoying our life that we're living now and in the future? Equally, we need to also reframe what we consider to be our level of accountability. What things do we consider to be our responsibility and that we need to do something about changing? And what things are actually outside of our control, so that we are able to know the things that we can do something about so that things can go the way we want them to go, and the things that we need to circumvent in order to get to the destination that we want to arrive at. Number 5 is prioritize. We need to prioritize the things that are important to help us to build wealth. If that is our goal, that's our aim, that's our ambition, then it also has to be our priority. That means that things that are hampering or building out of our wealth portfolio needs to be assessed and need to be severed. We need to find a way to break away from and break free from those things that are not important in the agenda of wealth building. And therefore we prioritize those things that we need to focus on and minimize the frequency of the other things that are happening in our lives that we are currently giving priority or attention to. That doesn't mean that you're going to neglect areas of your life. It just means that you develop a rank of priority, and the things that are most important are going to obviously get the attention because they are going to put you in the place that you want to be in terms of your wealth portfolio. And then you can go back to paying attention to some of the other things that you might have considered important but not high up on your priority list. What are some of the other things you feel would be profitable having in your financial box? Tell us in the comments down below. Remember, financial literacy is revolutionary. It has transformed my life, and I believe it can do the same to yours.